So thank you so much for joining us today for our Register on Track session. My name is Tyler Hall. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm so excited to welcome you virtually to Dal and soon on campus. Before we get started though, I want to recognize that Dalhousie is on Mi'kma'ki, the unceded and ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq people. And whether you're coming locally, whether you're coming from afar, it's really important to recognize the land you're going to be working on, studying on, benefiting from, and as well the rich culture and also the legacies of the African Nova Scotian peoples and communities who have been here for over 200 years. So you're coming to a really great city with a lot to offer. And so, as I mentioned, my name is Tyler, and I'm a student success advisor. I did my undergraduate degree in management at Dal, and I did my master's in counseling at Acadia. And so I've got lots of post-secondary experience. And then also I'm a dancer and a baker. And so when you're checking out your advisors, it's also good to get to know them as people. We're not just, autonomous robots. We've got interests. And so get to know us because we're going to be here to help you throughout your whole degree. And we're so excited that you are here. So I work in the Bissett Student Success Center. And so what is that? Who are we? So what we offer for students in the faculty is health. We have 3 different services. So the first is career services. So any questions about resumes, cover letters, job interviews, or maybe you need some career counseling. You might not be sure where you want to go with your career or your degree. Our career services can definitely help you with that. We also have studying for success. So whether you're coming from high school, whether you're coming from another university or college, or maybe you've taken some time off and it's been a while since you've been in school, studying for success can help anyone really learn the skills you need to succeed at Dalhousie. And so we have workshops on how to write multiple choice tests and time management and lots of supports, and these are all free services. So definitely check in with us and we can help you out there. And we offer peer-to-peer advising, and you're going to meet Joseph a little later, who's one of our peer advisors. And so sometimes it's nice just to work with someone who's actually in school now and going through the same thing you are. And so we've got that service too. In addition to our center, whether you're in health and human performance, which is kinesiology, recreation management, therapeutic recreation, and health promotion, whether you're in one of our health sciences programs or our nursing program, we actually have academic advisors that are here for you. And I'm going to be sending all of these emails after the presentation, but we do have Heidi on. Heidi, if you just want to turn on your camera, give a little wave. So this is Heidi. Heidi works in the School of Health and Human Performance. So any therapeutic recreation management, or health promotion, Heidi's going to be your main person. And then we've got Colleen, Teresa, and Lindsay as well, who weren't able to join us, but they are here in spirit. But I'll send all these emails to you, and it's definitely a great idea to connect with them if you have any questions about registration. And so here's the agenda for today. We want to first welcome you to campus and get to know what it's like to be a student. Then we're going to go through all the mechanics of registering. So how do you know what courses to take? How do you actually register? And also going over the different supports we offer students to make sure that your first year at Dal is a great one. And so this is my team, and we've got just a little message for you.
Welcome to Dal!
And so friendly bunch of people, and all of your faculty advisors are just as excited to have you. And so make sure you are reaching out to us. This is what we're here for. And so don't feel like you're coming into Dalhousie alone. You've got a really great support team all ready for you. And so when you're thinking about coming to Dal, and feel free to put some of this in the chat if you'd like, what are you excited about? What are you looking forward to? What's getting you pumped up for the fall? Maybe you want to think about what challenges you're anticipating. The more you know about yourself, the more we can help make sure there are services in place to make sure your first year is really successful. And how do you plan to make the most out of your Dal experience? Maybe that's joining a club, playing a sport, maybe getting involved in research. There's lots of really great options, but just want to start with a super warm welcome to Dalhousie University. But not only are you joining Dalhousie University, you're also joining the Faculty of Health. And for that, I'm so excited to welcome Brenda Merritt to do a little introduction and a word of welcome. So Brenda, take it away.
Thanks, Tyler. I so love your enthusiasm for our students and for Dalhousie, and that warm welcome is great. So as Tyler said, my name is Brenda Merritt. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Dean of the Faculty of Health. Just a hint about me, I am an occupational therapist by training and have absolutely loved my professional life in health. And as an occupational therapist, I knew I had picked the right profession for me when I would go to the hospital every day. And not every day was great, but most of the days I would leave just as energized as when I arrived. And when you can make a difference in someone's health journey, in their life, in their ability to, return after a health incident, it's pretty special. And I know that our students joining in kinesiology and health promotion, therapeutic rec management, nursing. I'll just name the few that I think are here. Diagnostic medical ultrasound, nuclear medicine, radiology, and respiratory therapy. Those professions, and I'll kind of start with our health and human performance group, in that over the pandemic, the need for professionals with your expertise is becoming more and more evident. And some of this, I would say, is even recently acknowledged by our premier here in Nova Scotia, who has just invested quite a bit of provincial funding to support outdoor recreation spaces. So if I think of kinesiology, health promotion, therapeutic rec management, our government is recognizing these professions and these mechanisms that will support health, maybe prevent folks from entering into the health system with illnesses and whatnot. And we need this expertise to advise on policy, to help individuals. And I just think you've chosen great careers, especially at this moment in time. And then thinking about once people do enter the health system and need to go through assessments of ultrasound and nuclear medicine, radiology, we know that those professionals are desperately needed. We have backlogs in our health system. We have workforce needs across the province, across the country, with needs of that expertise. And the pandemic has also really shown a light on the skills of respiratory therapy, who were right in the midst of providing crucial care to those with COVID-19. And, without a doubt, nurses right now are governments across Canada, across the globe, are recognizing the critical care that nurses provide, both in public health, but also in the health system. And my gosh, the job market for nurses right now, you could probably pick wherever you want to work. And you will find, an incredible career, hopefully great mentors out there. And I know our nursing profession, they need graduates to come join them, lock arms with them to help with our health system. And so, I look at the careers that you're, and the education that you're starting. You've got exceptional faculty members, staff to support your journey. And it's an incredible faculty, an incredible profession to be in. And I just welcome you, and I really look forward to the opportunity of interacting with some of the students. And I will hang on, and if any questions come up, I know your advisors from the schools, Heidi and Peggy, et cetera, are going to be more knowledgeable in some of the areas of questions that you have. But I will hang on, and if there are questions you have for me, I'm happy to take them. But I'll turn it back over to Tyler. Just a warm welcome for you.
Thanks so much, Brenda, and thanks for staying on as well. So take Brenda up on this opportunity. It's not every day you get to directly interact with the dean, so feel free to put some questions in the chat. But yes, I definitely reiterate that you're joining a really exciting profession, regardless of the different programs, and a really important time in our world's history. So welcome to the Faculty of Health. I also want to give you an opportunity to get to know campus a little bit, what it's like to be a student. Now, I graduated a long time ago, so I am going to bring up Joseph, one of our peers, and they're going to talk a little bit about their experience as a student on campus. So Joseph, over to you.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Joseph. I use he, him pronouns. I'll be beginning my Master of Arts in Sociology at Dal this fall, but I also just finished my Bachelor of Arts, so I'm going on to my 5th year at Dal, and I've been able to get involved on campus in a few different ways, so I thought I'd share those. So for starters, I was a volunteer at the Nova Scotia LGBT Seniors Archive, which is an archival collection stored in Dal's Killam Library. So for them, I was an interviewer for one of their ongoing research projects. So that speaks a little bit to both volunteer opportunities and research opportunities at Dal. And then I've also had a couple different on-campus employment opportunities. So this past year, I was an office assistant at the DSU Health and Dental Plan Office, and I am now beginning as a peer advisor at the Bissett Student Success Center, which is why I get to speak with you guys today. A little more about my Dal experience. One of my favorite courses I've ever taken was Drugs, Health, and Society. I think it's a very interesting course that speaks to the variety of what you can explore at Dal in your studies. And my advice for incoming students would be to not be afraid to reach out and ask for help. There are many people at Dal across different departments, different divisions, different offices, and they're all here to help you make the most of your education. So make sure you reach out, introduce yourself, and ask all the questions that you need answered. And yeah, welcome to Dal.
Thanks so much, Joseph. Very good advice. And it doesn't matter what program you're in, whether you're in arts or health or nursing, getting involved is such a great thing to do. And so I think Joseph is a great example of the different ways that you can get involved, whether it's volunteering, working, societies, lots of fun stuff. And so now that we've officially welcomed you, I hope you all feel welcomed. We're going to get started with the actual course registration process, which is most likely why you signed up for this session today. So before you even start, write down this email or this website, dal.ca/registration. Everything I'm going to talk about today, and including the recordings of the videos, can be found through this website. So we're going to be following that 4-step process of how to register for courses. And so the presentation mirrors that. But you'll also notice there's a lot of quick links. And on the right-hand side, there's actually check out our registration videos down here. And so the 4 steps have been broken down into like 3-4 minute videos. So those are great things too. And if you ever have questions, you've got a fantastic team of academic advisors like Heidi and her team, as well as nursing and health sciences, to really help you understand the nitty-gritty. And I always just like to say course registration opens on June 11th, but it doesn't end then. And so it's just the start. We've got all summer to work through things. And so if things don't work out right away, don't stress. A lot of people put a lot of pressure on June 11th, like, oh, like this will determine the rest of my life. But, if something happens or you can't log in or, things happen, just make sure you're reaching out to your academic advisors, and we'll make sure that by the time September comes around, you feel excited about your courses and confident that you have everything you need. So don't panic. There's a couple basic stuff that you need to do in order to register. The first thing is you do need to pay your $200 admissions deposit. Without that, there actually will be a block on your account. And so you need to pay that to become a student at Dal. So make sure you've paid your $200 admissions deposit and that you've activated your net ID and password. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but that's how you're going to log into all of our services. You want to make sure you've set up your Dalhousie email. We do use personal emails a little bit at the beginning of the summer, but then we transfer to only communicating through your Dal email. And so if you don't have that set up, you're going to be missing a lot of important information. Bookmark the important dates website, because that's going to tell you all the dates. So when does class start? When is the last day to add or drop classes? When is reading week? When is the December holiday? All of it is on that website. And then we've got a handy new student checklist to help you sort of make sure you're doing everything that you need to do to get ready. But let's talk a little bit about the net ID. It's a word you're going to hear a lot, and if you don't go to Dal yet, you probably don't know what it is. So your net ID is basically your login for most of the services online. And so you can find that by going to password.dal.ca and activate your NetID. It is generally the first 2 letters of your name, excluding vowels, and it has 6 numbers after it. And this NetID is your way to access DAL. Now, it's different than your student ID, which is your B00 number. Some people call it your banner number, your BOO number. And the banner number is what we need as advisors and staff to look up your record. And so if you come to our office and say like, hey, I want to book an appointment, we'll be like, oh, what's your B00 number? And that's how we look you up. But if you're trying to access something online, like you want to log into your email or DAL online or registration, you're going to use your NetID. And so both of those numbers are important. You will eventually memorize them, but it's good to have them written down or in your notes on your phone, somewhere you can access them, because anytime you're working with a DAL staff, we may need one or both depending on the situation. So you've done all of that, you're officially good. Now we're going to find out what courses do I need. Before we get into that, I just want to talk about transfer students, because we may have some folks in the audience who are coming from other institutions. You want to make sure that you've applied to transfer your credits from your previous school. Now, health has a lot of required courses, and so not all your courses may transfer, but it's great to apply to do that. Now, transfer students can technically start registering now. It's the same time as current student registration. And so if you are a transfer student, you can start playing around with that. And you don't need to wait for your credits to be approved before registering. But you may need some prerequisites. So for instance, if you wanted to take some second-year kinesiology classes that require the first-year ones, if those transfer credits haven't come through, the system won't know you've taken them and you won't be able to register. But any transfer students, I highly recommend you reach out to your academic advisor, because they're going to be able to help you find, look at the nuances of transferring, because it depends on where you came from, how long you were there. It's always a case-by-case basis. So make sure you reach out. And I always like to say that new to DAL orientation in the fall is for all students who are new to DAL, including transfer students. So just because you may have done university or college somewhere else doesn't mean it's going to be the same at DAL. And so sign up for those events, go to the concerts, all those fun things, because it's going to help you get integrated into the community and figure out where everything is. But how you're actually going to choose courses is through these course planning worksheets. And I'm actually going to go, oopsies, too far. I'm actually going to go off my presentation. I'm going rogue, and I'm actually going to walk you through how to find these through the website. So you're just going to go to dal.ca/registration. And this is the site. And so we've done step 1, we've paid our deposit, NetID, all that good stuff. We're going to go to step 2, find your courses. And you can find your courses using our course planning worksheet. So you have a click on that. And so if you're in kinesiology, therapeutic rec, health promotion, or rec management, you'll find that under the School of Health and Human Performance. If you're in diagnostic ultrasound, nuclear medicine, radiological, or respiratory therapy, you'll find that under health science. And then nursing, whether you're Halifax or Yarmouth, you'll find it under School of Nursing. And so these tell you what classes to take. And so why don't we just open health promotion just for fun? These PDF documents are going to show you what you're going to take in the fall, what you're going to take in the winter, and there's lots of information on here, as well as the contact information for those advisors. And so these sheets guide you on what courses you need to take. We also have included a blank PDF schedule, and you can actually fill it in. So from 9:30, if you have chem, you can write chem in here. And then at the bottom, we have a spot to write in your CRNs. We're going to talk about that later, but just remember there's a spot on here. And so you can fill out this timetable to make sure that your courses aren't overlapping and you've got everything in. Now, for most of our programs in the Faculty of Health, your schedules are pretty prescribed. You don't have a ton of choice, but where you do have choice, that's where you can really explore those interests. So for health promotion, you get to choose a writing requirement, and they list all the options here. And so this is your opportunity to tailor your degree towards something that works for you. Now, the program worksheets are designed to have a full course load, which is generally 5 courses. Now, some of you might need alternative learning strategies. Maybe 5 courses sounds like a lot. this is not set in stone. This is just the recommended kind of standard way to do a degree. But if you're worried about taking 5 courses, maybe you have transfer credits, that's a great time to reach out to your academic advisor. If you're not following the schedule, it might take longer than the traditional 4 years to graduate, or 5 if you're doing recreation management. We use a lot of abbreviations here. I'm trying to work on that. But always reach out to your advisors if this plan doesn't fit with what you need for first year. But explore them all. Whatever program you're doing, there's a worksheet for you. And for nuclear medicine, they've got a summer semester, but there's lots of information. And again, the contact information for the advisor in that program. So it may seem like a lot at first, but once you actually sit down with the worksheet and it's like, oh, this is actually not so bad. And the good news is you have 11 days to get all of this ready before registration even opens. And then once it opens, you actually have until September to make things work. And so don't put too much pressure on yourself if you're worrying how am I going to get everything done? You've got a whole team of folks in your program to really help you out with that. So let's pop back. But like I said, they list your required courses. You choose the course from the worksheet, ask advisors any questions, and dal.ca/registration. So one thing you might want to think about is, what do I do if a course is full? And so this sometimes can happen, especially with the electives or the writing requirements or the things where you have choice. Have a backup course in mind. And so maybe for writing, you really wanted to take, pulp fiction writing. But maybe you might want to have a backup one just in case it fills up. It's always good to have that because you never know what is going to be popular each year. But also know the timetable is going to change over the summer. So just because a course is full now doesn't mean students might change courses or the professors might add more seats. It depends on the year. So, don't worry if something fills right away. Waitlists also exist. And so a waitlist is a way for you to put your name, say, hey, I want this class if space opens up. And I'm going to show you how to add courses to a waitlist. And know that you're going to complete your degree over multiple years. So if there's a course you wanted to take that won't fit in your schedule this year, you may be able to take it another year. And so working with your advisors, you can definitely help that, and connect with us. That's what we're here for. So anything that doesn't make sense, send us an email and go from there. And so now that you've kind of found your courses, you know what those courses are, the next step is to actually build your schedule. And so when you're building your schedule, you want to ask some questions. So, what time of day do you learn best? Do you want your classes back to back? Have you made time for dinner or lunch? Do you have access to a quiet space? If you're taking an online class, do you prefer asynchronous or synchronous? And we're going to talk about what those words mean. And did you record your CRNs? I've talked about them once, your lectures, labs, and tutorials. And so I'm going to go over what all of those words mean. But these are the different parts of courses at DAL. And so a lecture is generally what you think of when you think of a university class. So it's led by a professor. It's more just listening and taking notes, so less interaction. And it's usually the largest section of your course. So if you're taking intro chemistry, for instance, you would have, around 300 people in a lecture, the professor at the top. But oftentimes classes will also have, paired with the lecture, either a lab or a tutorial. And so a lab is more of that hands-on learning. I'm not a science student, but in chemistry, you learn about mixing chemicals together. And then in the lab, you actually mix them together. That's a very basic example from a business student. But it's really an opportunity to put the stuff you're doing in classes and lectures into practice. And they're smaller groups. So you get that more smaller class experience, and they're generally run by teaching assistants or lab coordinators. A tutorial is similar, but as opposed to doing more of the laboratory work, you'll be doing more discussion-based stuff. And so you might see that in more of your humanities or writing classes. But those are kind of the 3 main terms you're going to hear across the board. So this is the academic timetable here, and these are all the things I'm going to go over. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go off of a screen, and we'll have a look at what all of these things mean, and I'll show you some examples from the courses you're going to be taking. So if we go to dal.ca/courses, say it with me, registration. And now we're on step 3. We found our courses through our course planning worksheet. Now we're creating our schedule, and look at that academic timetable right here. So we are going to be looking at fall and winter. So you're going to choose your fall and winter classes, and your course planning worksheets outline that for you. Location, I always recommend choosing all, just because sometimes there's online courses, sometimes, just all is a handy thing to do. And you can hit submit there, and it's going to give you a list of all of the different programs. And so let's just have a look at health promotion. So if you need to take a health promotion class, if we go to the worksheet, it says here, I need to take health promotion HPro 1195. So I'm going to go to the timetable, I'm going to go to health promotion, and I'm going to find health promotion 1195. And haha, it's right here. Right beside the course title, there's a little button. If you click this, this opens the course description. And so this is going to show you a little bit about the course. Now, for a lot of your classes, you're going to see this thing called a co-requisite, and you're going to see IPHE 4900. That's the Interprofessional Health Education course. All students in the Faculty of Health for these programs need to register for IPHE 4900. So because it's a co-requisite, you won't be able to register for any of your other courses without registering for this one. There is information on the course planning worksheets about what this is, what you're supposed to do with it. But basically, it's an opportunity to hold space for all of our folks in health to come together and have larger discussions. So you're going to have people from across the faculty in one room, because health is not just health promotion, it's not just nursing, it's not just health science, it's all blended together. And they're generally throughout the semester, and they won't conflict with your classes. So just make sure you're registering for IPHE 4900 and check your course planning worksheets for more information there. But this tells you a little bit about it, and it says it's restricted to health promotion students, others by permission of instructor. And so that's how you find out what the course is about. Now let's look at all of the columns. We're going to work our way across. So first is the notes section. So oftentimes for your classes, you're going to see an R. That means restricted. If you click on it, it's restricted to students in the Bachelor of Health Promotion or Bachelor of Science Health Promotion. So that's what we kind of already knew. The second column is arguably the most important. This is the CRN, or course reference number. And this is the number you need on registration day to actually sign up for the course. And so you'll notice there's a beige bar, and then there's all these blue bars, and then it has different sections. So this is section 1, T01, T02, T03, T04. What do those mean? Well, beige are LEC, or lecture, and TUT is tutorial. And so this class, you can see, has 1 lecture that you have to choose, but then it has 4 tutorials, and you only need to pick 1 of every type. And so there's only 1 lecture, but you can choose a tutorial. And so when you're doing your schedule here, this is where you want to make sure your classes aren't overlapping. And so if you choose a course that is on Mondays at 12:30, you want to make sure that you're not conflicting. So this is where you choose your tutorial. The lecture is going to be 3 credit hours. And so most courses at Dal are 3 credit hours. That's a standard course. And so each semester, you'll generally take 15 credit hours or 5 3 credit hour courses. If you ever do come across a 6 credit hour course, it actually will count as 2 courses. And so if you see that and you're confused, definitely work with an advisor. But most of the courses are 3 credit hours for health. Tutorials are no credit hours, so they don't need to be counted in your credit hour total. And then we have the days of the week. Now, Thursday is an R, T was taken. So this lecture is on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11:35 to 12:55. And it's going to be on the Carleton campus in the Collaborative Health Education Building, room C264. These tutorials, Monday, this one's Wednesday, this one's Friday, and these ones you'll see are on the Studley campus, and you might be like, whoa, different campuses, what's happening? So at Dalhousie, we have 3 main campuses in Halifax. We have the Studley campus, which is most of our undergraduate courses. Carleton is our health campus, and that's where the Faculty of Health lives. And so you may have some courses on that campus. When you're building your courses, there's always 10 minutes travel time built between courses. And so if you have one course and then one right after it, there's 10 minutes of travel time. Now, Carleton and Studley are right next to each other. So a lot of times you can actually get between those campuses within that 10 minutes. But if you are worried, check in with your advisor and they'll be able to kind of reassure you, yeah, you can make that walk. But if you're going from like collaborative health education, which is the furthest on the Carleton, to the Life Sciences Center, that might be a bit of a run. But check in with your advisors and they can help you with that. It then says the maximum amount of students available. So you can see the lecture portion is 55, but the tutorials are all 14. Currently registered. And so that may be some of our transfer students having already registered or some upper year students who are taking this. And how many are currently registered, how many seats are available, and how full it is. And then you have the professor, Dr. Spencer, who is a lovely human being for those who will be taking this class. And that is sort of an overview of the timetable. So once you find the course you want to take and the lab, you'll pop it into your timetable, and then you'll put the CRNs down here. Now for this class, Determinants of Health, there are no tutorials for it. There's just one lecture. And so you just want to take one of each type. If we go to physics, some of you may need to take physics. I like to use physics as an example because the intro class has 6 different lectures. It has 25 labs, and then it has a sneaky little tutorial at the bottom. So remember, you need to choose one of each type. If you just pick a lecture and a lab, and there's a tutorial, when you try to register, it's going to say linked course error. So make sure you've got one of every type. And also these ones have proper notes. And so you want to make sure you're reading the note. I just had a student actually, I'll give an example of why notes are important. This summer, we're offering some math courses. And they were like, oh my God, I found out the exam is in person. I'm not in Halifax. Well, if they read the note on the timetable, it actually says right here, there will be an in-person final exam, even though the course is online. And so the notes are always really important to read. So we'll pop back over to the PowerPoint. I know that's a lot of information, but the more you use the timetable, the more you're going to get used to it and really feel comfortable with it. And again, you've got at least until June 11th to start working on all of this, but then you have all summer to make final touches and change things. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, take some deep breaths. There's lots of time before September. But those are the main things that you want to look at when you're looking at the timetable. So a couple things in the course descriptions that we didn't chat about were cross listings, prerequisites, and exclusions. Cross listings is a kind of tricky one to explain, but it basically just means that the course is shared between multiple departments. And so this is religious studies, history, early modern studies, and history of science and technology. All 4 of those classes are exactly the same. Same professor, same syllabus, same room, same time, same exam, everything. Why it's useful for you is if, let's say, Religious 2120 is full, there may still be space in History 2990 or EMSP 2360 or HSTC 2120. So that's just a way to find some extra seats if you find that a course is full. Check for a cross listing. For the math example here, you'll see there's prerequisites, which means you need a course before you can take it. And so in order to take Intro Calculus, you need to have done Nova Scotia Math 11 or 12 or pre-cal. Now, exclusions is one thing you really want to look out for. And if you're following your program worksheet, your advisors are great and have not chosen courses for exclusions. But when you're looking at your electives, this is when it can come into play. Exclusions mean you can't get credit for the course if you've already taken one of the exclusions. So if you've already taken Math 1215, Math 1280, or Math 1500, you cannot get credit for Math 1000, the name of this course. So you just want to make sure you're looking at the course descriptions for exclusions. Those are some things that sometimes can trip people up. The online classes that we offer, some of them are synchronous, which means you need to join online at the specific day and time in the schedule. Some are asynchronous, which means you can do it whenever, and some are a combination of both. So let's look at some examples. This philosophy course, you can see there's no days or times of the weeks. There's no room number, but it says online asynchronous. So that lets you know it's an online course and you can do it whenever you need to. For synchronous courses, you'll see this one does have dates and times. but it says online synchronous, which means you need to be on your computer on Wednesdays and Fridays from 1 to 2:30. Some have both. So this one, you can see it's primarily online asynchronous, but then on September 10th, I know it's 2020, it's just a really good example. September 10th, October 8th, November 5th, and December 3rd, it will have single day synchronous sessions, which you have to be online for. This English class has an asynchronous lecture, but then synchronous tutorials. And so most of our classes now will be on campus, but I do like to highlight these just in case you see them and run into them. But that's sort of how the online courses work. So make sure you're using your blank schedule, fillable PDF, and it helps plan when those courses are. So the course program worksheet shows you what courses you need. The blank schedule helps you plan when them, and you find all that on the timetable. Make sure you're using that area at the bottom to track your CRN numbers, because you're going to need those on registration day. And then make sure you do the winter too, so fall and winter. So now we have made sure our accounts are set up. We've used the program worksheet. We've got our timetable all filled out. Now we need to register for classes. And so you've activated your NetID and password. You've checked your registration status, which I'm going to show you how to do. You want to make sure that's good to go. You've created a schedule that works for you, and you've recorded all those CRN numbers. So to check your registration status, and you can do this today, you're going to go to dalonline.dal.ca. You're going to log in using your NetID and password. You're going to click on Web for Students, Registration, and then Prepare for Registration. You'll hit Prepare for Registration again, and you'll choose 22-23 Fall. Hit Continue, and this is what you should see. Your student status permits registration, your academic standing permits registration, you have no holds, and your time ticket should show June 11th at 12 p.m. If it doesn't look like this, make sure you're getting in touch with your academic advisor. It could be that you haven't paid your deposit yet. There could be something else that we're waiting on, but you want to make sure this looks good. Don't look at your winter, because your winter will have all these error messages. Once you register for your fall classes, then you can go and register for your winters. But if your fall status looks like this, you're good to go. On registration day, you're going to go into registration instead of prepare for registration. You'll hit register for classes 2022-2023 fall. Now it's going to open up with a section that says find classes. Don't use that ever. One, it doesn't have those important notes that are on the timetable. And two, it doesn't always sync properly. So just pretend that doesn't there. You've gone through the hard work of using the timetable and finding your CRNs. So now you just need to enter them. Add a box for every CRN you have, because remember, if you don't have all the parts, so lecture, lab, tutorial, whatever, you're going to get an error message. So you might have 10 or 11 boxes for one semester, depending on how many classes. Type all your CRN numbers in and then hit add to summary. You'll see a list of all of the courses, and hopefully those CRNs match what you actually want to take, and they'll all show as pending. If that looks good, hit submit. And hopefully you get a bunch of registered in green, but sometimes you might get an error. So here are some common ones. Sometimes it'll say available seats held for waitlist, waitlist full. That means the class is full. And so that's when you kind of look at your backups. For the second option, Creative Writing 2001, CRWR, it says section full, but 18 on the waitlist. Select waitlisted action and hit submit to add yourself to the waitlist. And I'll show you what that looks like in a second. You also might see like German, GERM 1004, missing required course or grade, review course description for prerequisites. I have so many students email me being like, I got an error message. And I was like, okay, what's the error message? It says missing required course, review course description for prerequisites. And I say, did you review the course description for prerequisites? And they said, oh, no. So go on the course description and make sure there's no prerequisites, because that's probably what is happening. To add yourself to the waitlist though, like it says, you're just gonna choose the drop-down menu beside the error and hit waitlisted, hit submit, and it should show up in green. And professors will be in touch with you about the waitlist, or you can reach out to them directly. But those are the most common errors. And then, like I said, the other one was the linked class error. That means you don't have all the parts like lecture, lab, and tutorial. And so you want to check your schedule. Hopefully, if you use the blank schedule, there's no overlap between them and they all fit nicely into your schedule. And then do your winter. So change the term by hitting select term to 2022-2023 winter. Add all your winter CRNs, and a top tip, fall CRNs start with a 1, winter CRNs start with a 2. If you're trying to add a winter CRN in the fall or a fall in the winter, you'll get CRN does not exist. And so that's another error message that you might come up with. And once you've done that, it should take like 30 seconds. You type them all in, hit submit, pen, go, and you're done. So June 11th should theoretically be the easy day. But if you do need more help, every page of the DAL Online has a little help button, and it links you to videos on how to do all of this, from preparing to register, registering for courses, adding to the waitlist, dropping a class. There's lots of videos there. And don't forget to reach out to your academic advisors as well. And so before we kind of finish up, give you some last final tips, I also just want to, well, we just want to give you some ideas of the different supports that we offer as a new student. And so I'm going to get Joseph to come up and just walk us through the different support services that we have on our campus for all students. So Joseph.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll go over some of the supports we have on campus, like Tyler said. So first we have the Financial Services Office. So this office can help you with scholarship and bursary funding. They help students make a budget for university funding and their expenses, access different kinds of loans, and connect with, they help connect with campus and community services to assist with money problems more broadly. And then we also have the Student Accessibility Center. So they help students gain access to assistive technology and exam accommodations. You can speak to an access advisor to ensure all your accessibility needs are being met. They assist with accessing disability-related funding, and they connect students with on and off-campus resources, and their emails there. The last financial services, their emails also on that slide. And then we have the International Center. So this center helps students explore all of Dalhousie's exchange and study abroad opportunities. They provide assistance to students with issues regarding student immigration, student visa, filing Canadian taxes. They can help you access different ESL supports, and they can help you connect with the international community, both on campus and off campus. It's generally also just a community hub as well as a service center. And then we have Black Student Advising. So this support service helps students access different kinds of services, such as advising, advocacy, and mentorship. They can help you get connected to different student societies and community groups, and they host student and community events and workshops. And then we have the Indigenous Center. So the advisors at the center provide support and advocacy to Dalhousie's Indigenous students, and they can help students engage in different Indigenous cultural activities. And they also host events such as information sessions about Indigenous education and networking. And then new to DAL this fall, so there's not an email yet, but we're going to have a 2S LGBTQIA+ advisor. So similar to the other advisors, they will provide support services such as advising, advocacy, and mentorship. They can help you get connected with student societies and community groups, and they'll presumably host community events and workshops for the community and students. And then we have the DAL bookstore. So this is in the basement of the Student Union building. So they'll have all your required textbooks and course materials for all of your classes and courses. You can buy Dalhousie swag and gear, such as sweaters and mugs, and they'll have dorm and living essentials, as well as school supplies. And then we have the Health and Wellness Center. So students are able to make medical appointments with doctors and nurses through this support. They offer same-day counseling services. Students are able to speak with social workers to work out different stresses and challenges. And they also provide flu shots, prescriptions, and medical testing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joseph. And there really is a ton of services on campus. And this is our current student website, but I'm actually just going to show you how to actually get here. If you go to dal.ca, a lot of people don't know about this. Right at the top, there's this little button that says current students. If you click on that, it brings you to a list of all the services. So some of them are the ones Joseph mentioned. but other ones they didn't. So food services, grades and student records, health plan and insurance, library services, money matters, multi-faith services. So really, we want to make sure you know that there are folks out there to help you, and reach out to us before you're kind of struggling, or if you need support. It's always good to reach out early. Through the New to Dal orientations, we do a lot of work to try to let students know that these services exist. And it's just run by a lot of friendly people. So no matter what program you're going into, these supports are for everyone. And it's always good to get started early, especially if any of you do need to use the accessibility services. So you may have an IEP or an individual education plan. You might have a learning disability, or you need some support there, and they have a lot of options for students, such as extra time on exams, note taking, etc. And so that's something I recommend reaching out over the summer. And they'll be contacting you if you did self-identify as someone with a learning disability on your application, but that's one to really start early, to make sure that when you come in the fall, everything is ready for you. And so just some things to think about is download the Dal mobile app. So this is available on the Apple Store or Google Play Store. And this is how you can join your community, meet your classmates, questions, connect to your program. There's going to be information on orientation there, but also it's where we send out like updates. So if there's a snow day, you know, how does that work? All of the information gets sent through there. So highly recommend you download the Dal mobile app. And a program you're going to be hearing about very shortly is Together at Dal. And so we're just getting ready to launch that for next year. So keep an eye on your email, specifically your Dal email. And this is a program that lasts throughout the year, actually. And it's sort of a mentorship and connection program. It helps you get involved, explore possibilities, share learning experiences, develop your skills, and really get prepared. So I super suggest everyone registers for Together at Dal. It's a free program, and it really just provides that individualized support for your first year. We have a dal.ca/new students website, and there's the checklist that I mentioned earlier, but there's also tips, orientation information. You can take a virtual tour, learn about life at Dal. There's a lot of handy links there. And so if you're curious about what it's like to be a new student at Dal, check out that for sure. And then important dates. So June 11th, I've said it before. And again, it's just when registration opens. So sometimes there's hiccups on that day. Sometimes our phone lines are busier, but just know it's just when it opens, and it's 12 p.m. Atlantic time. It is a Saturday, so none of y'all will be in school, hopefully. And make sure you have paid your deposit at least 48 business hours in advance. So if you pay it on Friday, like June 10th, it might not get processed until Tuesday or Wednesday because it's a weekend. So make sure you pay that deposit, because you will not be able to register, and you've activated your net ID and password. I think I've said that 100 times, but it's very important. Now, if you do run onto snags that day, you get some error messages, your system's not working, you need to talk to someone, the registrar's office is going to be here for you. So they are going to be opened on June 11th to answer any questions and troubleshoot registration errors. So they're not going to be able to help you with planning out your courses and building your degree. That's where your academic advisors are for, and that's something you can connect with now. On June 11th, there to help you with the nitty-gritty of registration. So, this CRN doesn't exist, or linked course, what's that mean? But hopefully you paid attention and you won't run into any errors, or if you do, you'll know how to fix them. But they are going to be available by phone starting at 11:30, and email as well. I'm going to send these in the chat. Or sorry, not the chat. I'm going to send an email afterwards with the recording with all this information. But highly recommend you write that number. The email may take a couple days to respond to, so I highly recommend calling, and there's a 1-800 number there as well. And just a little bit about the registrar's office. People sometimes don't know what that word means, but it has lots of different offices. So admissions, awards and financial aids, transfer credits, but also they're the ones that run the timetabling software and the registration software. So they are the best folks to help you out on June 11th. And we're all here for you. And so just know that there's so many folks to reach out to. And if you don't know where to reach out to, start with one office and you'll eventually get in the right place. But that current student website can be a handy thing. But just know we're so excited to have you here and really welcome you to the Dalhousie community. and the Faculty of Health. It's a very exciting time to be a student, and we're so excited to welcome back a really big in-person start after quite a long time of virtual. And so we'd love to know what you thought of this session. Hopefully you're feeling excited and it wasn't too confusing, but let us know. We always are looking to do better. And so feel free to give us your feedback. I'm going to get Joseph just to put the link to the survey in the chat. And we're going to be drawing for $50 gift cards for the bookstore. And so definitely fill out that survey. It'll take you 30 seconds. It's very quick. But I'm also going to send the survey in the email message after with the recording. So if you don't get a chance to do it now, no worries, but definitely send that. And we've got a few minutes left before we hit 12 o'clock. So I'd love to get Peggy to come up and just feed me some questions. And if I can't answer them, Heidi or Brenda, I might call on you, but we'll see how I do. Put me to the test. Oh, you're muted, Peggy. Oh, you're still muted.
Here we go. Hi, everybody. I'm Peggy. I'm one of the assistant registrars in the admissions office. So we only had 12 questions, actually.
Oh, cool.
And one was, you've already touched on it, but how do I know when I should take a lecture, tutorial, or a lab?
Yeah, such a great question. I think it definitely is worth reiterating. I'm going to go off screen here and just go back to the timetable. And so under each course, you're going to see all the different options and they're color coded. And so here you can see under Math 1000, there's just beige, just beige, just beige. That means you only need to choose a lecture. But actually, let's get out of summer. So for here, this is the fall math version. You can see under Math 1000, there's section 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the lecture portion. And then there's all these tutorials here. So you have to choose one of every color that's available. This one has 1 lecture, 3 tutorials, 1 lecture, 3 tutorials, 2 lecture, not 7, 4 tutorials. And then some classes, let's just pop over to Spanish. So, nope, not agricultural campus. Here we go. So Spanish has 10 lecture sections, but no tutorials. And so you just want to make sure you're looking for those section numbers and you're choosing one of every color available. Does that help a little bit, Peggy? Perfect.
Next question, are you guaranteed a spot in courses that are required for your program?
Yeah, that's a great question. So as courses come up, we do everything we can. Heidi, I'm not sure if you can touch on this. I know for arts and science, it's a little less flexible, but for programs in HAP, do you have like a guaranteed admission for those?
We do for the program core courses. So for example, for the recreation degree, we have Leisure 1127, which is a required course in the fall semester for both therapeutic recreation and recreation management. Even if the course winds up filling, just hits the maximum enrollment, we will still get you into that particular course. So there might be some other ones, like some of the students would take Intro to Sociology, for instance. If one section of that is full, or Intro to Psychology, things like that. We can't get you into those ones. Those aren't in our department, taught in our department, but you can always connect with us and we will 100% figure out a solution for you.
Totally. That's great. Yeah. Advisors are always the best place to go to. And like I said, we'll make sure by September, you're ready to go. Great question.
We have time for one more?
Oh yeah, we can do 2 more.
All right. How do I know which electives to take?
Yeah, that's such a great question. So an elective, by definition, is any course that's not required. And so that means you can kind of really choose anything. And so this is an opportunity for you to really explore your interests. Advisors can be really helpful to help narrow that down, but also just going on the timetable and seeing what's available. I generally recommend, if you're new to Dalhousie, and especially if you're new to university, taking courses that start with a 1 and the 1000 level, because those are going to be your introductory courses. And generally won't have prerequisites. You also want to make sure they're not restricted. So if you're looking through and you're like, ooh, commerce, that looks exciting, and you go to the commerce website, and you're like, oh, business in a global context, sign me up. Don't forget to check the R's, because this course is restricted to students in these programs. And so because you are not in that, you wouldn't be able to take that course. But your academic advisors can help, or just choose a course that excites you and kind of gives you an area of knowledge you might not be interested. Like as a business student, I took a lot of courses in theater just because I like theater. And so, yeah, that's what I chose to, but you've got lots of flexibility with electives.
Okay. And if I register for a course on June the 11th, can I change it before September and pick something else?
Lovely question. Yes. So you can actually change your courses all the way up until the second week of September. So even in that first week, if you maybe choose theater for your elective, and then you take and you're like, oh my God, Tyler lied, this course is not for me, you can always switch that around. And again, all the academic advisors have lots of availability those first couple weeks, because we know that, you know, you change your mind or you think of things. And so they are not set in stone. Those were really great questions, Peggy. Thank you so much for feeding those to me.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and so that brings us to pretty much 12 o'clock on the dot Atlantic time. So we're going to end the session here. I hope this was helpful. Please let us know in the chat, and just know we're so excited for you to come, and we've got lots of different supports to help make this as easy as possible. So don't hesitate to reach out. I will be sending the recording and all of those contact information and how to get in touch with the registrar's office on June 11th in an email, hopefully within the next hour or two, but definitely by the end of the day. Just depends on how quickly Zoom downloads my video. But thank you everyone for joining me. Welcome to Dalhousie, and we will see you in September. Have a lovely day, and thanks for tuning in. Bye now.